Hey y'all, it's DYPICKLEBALL bringing you a full game with commentary of us challenging our 5-0 coach Chris, who's on the left in the blue shorts. The rest of us here are in the 4-0 plus range. We have Martina on the left partnering with Chris. On the right we have myself in the red shirt and my partner Ryan in the gray shirt. The big strategy lesson he's been teaching is that aggressive pickleball works much better when you've made it to the kitchen. Before you've made it to the kitchen as the serving team, you should be focusing your drives and drops with control and down the middle. Once you've advanced to the kitchen, then you can be more aggressive. If you followed my highlight videos and shorts before, you may have noticed I switched to a new main paddle. It's the Ambassador Blackout version of the 11six24 Vapor Alpha Pro Power that should be launched for the general public by the time I post this video. I'll be briefly sharing my thoughts on it later in this video. Chris does provide a lot of in-game coaching between points that I'll go ahead and summarize throughout this video. Because he's focused on being a coach in these games, he's definitely taking it a bit easy, and it shows as we quickly go up 4-0, but he turns up the heat right here on this next point, where he goes for a really aggressive cross-court drop that catches Ryan off guard. It's not following his advice of focusing on getting to the kitchen via the middle, but hey, it's a do as I say, not as I do situation. Stick around to see if the students can best the teacher. I want to give a brief review of my new Vapor Alpha Pro Power. It's the next generation of the original Vapor Pro Power, and it has larger 10mm cells and a fiberglass carbon fiber face layer for increased dwell time. I definitely feel a difference in the dwell time compared to the original Vapor Pro Power and also the J2K Plus. I really prefer the Alpha version because the dwell allows me to be softer with my soft shots, including dinks, drops, and resets, while the 10mm cells compressing allows me to hit really hard when I swing at the ball. Basically, I get both control and power when I need them with the new Vapor Alpha Pro Power. So on this point, you'll see that Martina backs up when Ryan goes for a speed up out of the air, and Chris tells her that actually, since Ryan hasn't been able to close the kitchen, you should hold the line because you have so much more space to hit down on. Anyways, last thing I'll say about the new Alpha paddles. Ryan and Martina here use the Pegasus shape and also switch their mains to the Alpha generation. If you want to join the club, I'll leave my affiliate links in the description below. Be sure to use discount code DYPICKLEBALL for $10 off site-wide on all paddles, and you'll be supporting this channel. FYI, the paddles are the same as our Ambassador versions, just with more colors on the face. If you'd like to support this channel in other ways, please consider giving a like and subscribe to the channel if you find my content helpful or entertaining. Alright, so now I'll let you guys enjoy the game. We're all tied up at 5-5. I'll be chiming in and out with my own commentary as well as summarizing Chris's lessons for you guys. So in this point, I do a really good job of moving my dinks around and then recognizing that once I'm pushed out wide on a dink and my feet aren't set, I need to be dinking safely to the middle to reset the point and eventually getting the error out of our opponents. This point is a great example of just making another ball, get the ball over the net, and let the opponents beat themselves. Going for a little more height on resets is fine because it's better to give yourself another chance rather than lose the point outright. We take advantage of a couple of loose casual points from Chris and we take the lead again here. At this point, it's time for him to take it fully seriously. On this point, Ryan ends up going for a really extreme poach where he moves all the way across. And if you don't finish that kind of poach, you're basically setting up your team for failure. This point here is a great example of Chris just being a puppet master, working the angles, making sure that he's moving us around instead of immediately going for a speed up. Eventually we get pushed all the way back and Martina's speed up finishes the point. One tip Chris gives us at the kitchen line is if you speed up off the bounce, you should win on that shot or the next. And that's because you don't want to be speeding up bad balls that actually give your opponents the advantage. I actually think this was a great defensive dink from Martina, but Ryan takes advantage and goes at her right shoulder and gets the finish. Since he won the point within 2 shots of the speed up, it's a sign that speeding up off the bounce was a good decision. So here, instead of taking the obvious speed up off of my high dink, Chris goes for the higher percentage cross-court angle to move me around, and it's just as effective and aggressive. So Chris also noticed that our group tends to drive on balls that are too low, even if they're short. So on this one, I go for the drop instead of the drive. It gets us safely to the kitchen and allows Ryan to finish the point. If I had driven instead, I would have had to hit up, and our opponents would have hit down, and we would not have won the point. Just a bad reset on my part there, but I really like the decision making I'm going for, focusing on just getting to the kitchen first. Yet another example of just get the ball back, and Ryan's off-speed speed-up being really effective. However, on the next point, Chris points out here that Ryan goes for a bad speed-up. The drop is really good, skids low, and Ryan's pushed back, but still goes for an off-the-bounce speed-up. He should have just conceded the kitchen, as he would have to hit up, and they can hit down. We later determined that it actually bounced on the ground first and then hit the bar, so it was still a valid point. If Ryan had closed the kitchen with me here, he definitely would have been able to finish the shot. Low pickups with my forehand are still a weakness of mine, so definitely something I'm still working on in drilling sessions. Game point here, so let's see what they go for. Chris went for his sharp angle shot here, but just missed it into the net. He usually makes that, so worthwhile attempt on game point. Another bad pickup with my forehand, but hey, my good hands bail me out of the situation. Alright, we tie it up 10-all here, and now I'm starting to think, wow, we might actually get the win over him. I get a little too overconfident here and go for a questionable speed up off the bounce. I definitely do not win it in the first two shots, and we end up losing the point. I probably should have resetted that last one. Yet another example of Chris using his sharp cross angles to win the point. He could have sped up off my high dink, but the cross angle was successful in pulling me off the court and getting the free point. It's a high percentage play, and he can always speed up later when we're off balance and have an even better chance of winning the point. In contrast, you can see the same exact situation here with Martina, where I pop up another dink, and she misses the speed up. Not necessarily a bad decision, but had she been like Chris and used this sharp angle to gain an advantage in the point, it would have been a higher percentage play. My counter misses by literal inches. We would have been up 11-10, but alas, we're still at 10-all in this tight game. The nerves get to me and I miss an easy return into the net at 10-all. Even though this is just a casual group lesson game, I think the possibility of winning a game I should not have been even close at winning was pressure in and of itself. And with the final point, we end up going down 12-10 in this really close game. We actually played Chris about 4 or 5 games throughout the day, mixing up the teams, and he actually won every single game. The full game that I just showed was the closest one. He did not do anything that looked super flashy. He just focused on getting to the kitchen, solid, consistent play, and being aggressive with angles and moving people around and going for high percentage shots. But I know the duper police is going to come out of the woodworks, so first person to comment, Chris is 3-5 at best, will get a like from me. Anyways, if you enjoyed the content, please leave a like on the video and let me know in the comments if you want more.